Hello, welcome to our next session on exploring tone in the 100 Days of Practice group. We had a break of 1 week, but now we are back with Détaché. And our last session was on Détaché in the middle of the bow, and the exploration that I want us to do with that stroke is to have a very even sound while we play, and then an instantaneous switch of the bow back and forth, so that the duration when the note sounds is as long as possible, and the two events at the end where we change the bow are as quick and unobtrusive as possible. And that means that for this time that we play, we have to have even weight in the string, and then we can't kind of prepare for the change. It just is a quick turnaround. And what I find helpful is to notice how we go from pulling the string to pushing. So to have that okay. So I had actually feedback on my own practice video with the Janshinov Etude number 1, and there was a comment by my teacher that my changes were not quick enough, and I still haven't practiced a lot with that because the feedback video came only in yesterday, I think, but I've done some initial checking with audio recordings where one can observe the sound waves and other dips in the sound waves, and I noticed indeed that when I stay on a single note, like an open string or some other note, then the changes are pretty quick. Maybe can still be improved, but they are quicker than if I change a finger also. And that encourages me to look also at my left hand, and am I really dropping the finger quickly enough and lifting it quickly enough so that the face when the string is kind of half pressed down is as short as possible, because that's a transition that also gives some extra crunch or dirt to the sound. And in that regard, also something that I've been taught is okay, if we drop the finger, then that's a potential for tension, of course, because if we drop and then squeeze, that's not what's helpful. But we need to drop first to establish the new length of the string immediately, and then we need to release. I don't know if that is visible, but I'm having this audible drop of the finger, and then an immediately release that kind of takes the tension out. So tum, tum. So I think maybe if I can exaggerate that a little bit, you might be able to see it from this side. Okay, not so easy to see that I'm in the frame here, so I think that should work. So okay, drop, release, drop, release, drop, release, I can see it maybe in this joint a little bit drop, that it is kind of relaxing. And of course, I mean, if I exaggerate, I will come to harmonic pressure, where I'm just barely touching the string. But that's not enough, of course, so there has to be some stopping, but not with pressure, but just with enough force. And then the other thing is to lift. Like the lifting also has to be to happen with energy. And that's maybe the most neglected part of left-hand articulation, the lifting, because it also has to be quick, and then the finger has to arrive at an relaxed state also. So I feel that it's worth exploring that when the bow changes are not as instantaneous as they could be, from this observation that if I don't change the fingers, it's better than if I change fingers. Okay. Then what I wanted to talk about today or this week is how do we actually play Détaché at the frog. And here the thing that really surprised me most was when I learned from my teacher, of course, that if we just like hold the bow like this and not have a proper bow hold, but just keep it in place, and then like draw the bow, then it's not so easy to control it, but one can notice that this is already, maybe do it on the D string. Okay, it's already maybe a good mezzo forte kind of sound. Of course, here it's a tip, that's not enough. But here in the middle it's quite a solid, healthy sound. But then what happens if we go further towards the frog? It's not as easy to do that because the bow wants to turn around. But also immediately it's clear that there's too much weight. So the sound is choked because the bow is too heavy if we just let it sit on the string. So that means that to play at the frog we have to take weight out of the bow, take weight out of the string by kind of lifting the bow. And the secret to achieve that is to have a balance of the bow, to hold the bow with the thumb underneath and then with the pinky. All the other fingers are kind of, maybe they can stay on the string to give some direction, but they don't like add to the weight of the bow and the string. They just self-correct sideways. And then perhaps even one can, if one is very careful and doesn't tense up, to take the first finger and just let it help with lifting, because then we have like a proper horizontal balance. If we just push with the pinky against the thumb, the bow kind of is not so easy to stay parallel. It is more like lifted, like pointing upwards. Let's say it that way. Okay, so that means that here at the frog we really have to like kind of carry the bow to have the same sound that we would hear here in the middle with a little bit more like pressure already from the first finger. Okay, and how do we practice this? Just the act of like staying above the string and kind of carrying the bow in that way can be like experienced by just playing above the string. Very, very, it doesn't have to be extremely precise, but staying like close to the string and experiencing that feeling of moving the bow with this lift, okay? And if we have practiced this, then we can kind of transfer that to the string. And here there are also a number of systems in place, and the one that I'm learning and that is kind of convincing to me is to do this with very little involvement of fingers and wrists, so nothing like, I don't know, flexible fingers or what sometimes trained, but just like very even come in with the same speed and pressure as one goes out, and that's best like directed actually from the arm. And okay, I don't really want to play a lot today because I haven't warmed up and I have a very like full day of exciting things ahead of me, but that is the kind of exploration that I would encourage you to do, like play in the middle of the bow and then occasionally go towards the frog and continue there. Experience this lift of the balance in the hand. So here we have a little bit of finger pressure, or maybe just the bow does its own thing. It doesn't have to be weighted down, something like that. But then here we definitely need to move the balance towards the pinky and help the lift with the index finger. And then like take care to have the same sound, the same amount of sound, the same volume, and also the same character somehow at the frog, like by using the same contact point and the same speed than that we are using in the middle. And then one of the simplest exercises is to play a few détachés at the frog and then do a slur towards the middle and then continue there and then go back like. Okay, so that's my suggestion for this week. I hope you find this interesting and exciting and you'll try it out in your scales or in your pieces when there is an opportunity. And yeah, see you next week. Bye for now.